You're live. You're live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to give it a few seconds. Let it wake up. Hopefully, it's not too loud. Let me know if it is so I can adjust this if I need to, or if it's too quiet. Quiet? Is it too quiet? As you can see, I got a microphone. Can you all hear me? At least let me know that. Can you hear me? Good morning, Christy. Can you hear me? Okay, maybe I'm on. No? Yes. Okay. I got fancy. I got a microphone. So good morning. It is tea time with Lady M. I am Lady M. I am Roberta, whatever you are comfortable with calling me. We are going to start our day with our grounding. We're going to do, again, we do something a little bit different each time so you can get something used to something different and get an idea. But this week, because we're going to be starting with our Clairs, we're going to, and when I say I dove deep into Clairs, like I'm just touching the surface, and this is why it's broken up into two parts, because there's a lot of information and I don't want you guys to miss out. So let's go ahead and visualize. What we're going to do is we're going to visualize a task that we don't mind doing. So for me, I always like to start my day making my bed, and sometimes my hubby beats me to it. And so one of those, what I like to do is I will envision my bed being made. And all you got to do is just take your blankets, like you're fluffing it up, and you kind of give it that little bit of a shake to get the wrinkles out. And then you kind of give it that big shake and you let it fill with air. Kind of maybe you need to shuffle it a little bit. Maybe it's not quite right. You need to give it another big flick. So flick it. Now it's coming down and it's flowing just perfectly and gonna set just right. Maybe you need to fix just a little teeny tiny corner. Nothing better than a perfect fall down of a bed. So that is a way to visualize doing something. If you don't mind doing it, visualize it. It will help you ground yourself. You do not have to use the movements. You can easily close your eyes and do it. For me, because it is making the bed, it is about doing the hand motions. It's about doing the movements and getting it there. So that's our grounding method for the week. So visualize doing a task, a chore that you don't mind doing. All right. So good morning. Again, this is Tea Time with Lady M. I am Lady M. So I'm getting a little bit on the fancy side. I got a nice little microphone, so hopefully it's not too quiet, not too loud. You as the audience are going to have to let me know eventually. I am excited because eventually we're going to not have a wall to look at or my background of a wall. I'll have my backdrops. A lotus flower. Yes. So, that is coming. I honestly, I need to get down in my basement, which is coming, because I've got a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks / month and a half. I'm going to be super busy. So I have the next couple of weeks planned out for tea time with Lady M. So we have part 1, part 2 of learning our clairsentences. And if you didn't know, there are several clairs. We're only going to be talking about 6 of them in the 2 different parts. But I have up to 8 written down right now. 8. So I may have to do another part later on to talk about these ones that are not as known as the other ones. So then we're going to be doing another one. I'm going to for sure be taking at least 1 week off in May. I might be taking 2 weeks off in May, just because of birthdays and surgery and yeah, just a lot going on. So I don't know what I will be doing, but I will keep you guys informed as the time goes. So The first thing, when I say I dug deep into the clairs, can anybody tell me what clairs you guys have? Because we might be talking about them today. So there, the 6 clairs that we'll be going over in 2 different parts is going to be clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairalience, and clairgustance. Audience, Maria, what kind of things do you experience with clairaudience? That is going to be one of the things that I am talking about today. I am very clairaudient as well. And I will talk about my experiences when I get to that part. So, what is clairvoyance? It's clear seeing. That's what everybody refers to it in the spiritual realm, the mystical realm, the witchy realm. What is it? If we go by the dictionary, it is a noun. Weird to say that it is a noun because it's describing something. But clairvoyance, the supposed faculty of perceiving things or events in the future or beyond sensory contact. So I'm going to say this before I get into this. I'm going to go over these, and you may think you only have one clair, but you might soon discover you have multiple clairs. Some of them may not be as well known. Some of them you may have had as a kid. Some of them you might just be developing in with your gifts. So keep that in mind, that you are allowed to have more than one clair. And it is, yeah. So clairvoyance, clear seeing. So are we, thank you for the hearts. What could that be? Clear seeing. Could we be seeing into the spirit realm? Absolutely. When I'm going to be reading notes, because, I like my notes, maybe you're seeing flashes of lights and colors around you. It could be, it could even be orbs in a picture. It's something that you could be, it's just something out of the corner of your eye, and you see a flash go by. That is clairvoyance. That's clear seeing. Do you daydream often? As a kid, I just came into realizing that I was very clairvoyant as a kid, and I lost part of that when I started pushing away my gifts and hiding who I was. So I was a big dreamer, and I still am. I used to look up at the clouds and find all the shapes and see the shapes and the designs. And I lost that for a while. Now I find myself, I do it on a whim, but my eyes are so sensitive. It's hard for me to look up, especially on a sunny day. So don't do it if you have sensitive eyes, unless you have eye protection. Precognitive visions. So it means visions of something that happens beforehand. You may not know when it's going to happen. It could happen in the next 5 minutes. It could happen within a week, a month, a year from now. Time, there is no idea of what time is when you get these, unless you're pretty good with your senses and you're very aware with your clairvoyance and have worked with it very much, with a little lot. Let's see, other things that can make you clairvoyant. If you see auroras around people, I know there are exercises you can practice, sticking your hand up against a white wall or a white piece of paper, and you practice seeing, whoa, that looks weird. You practice seeing that person's aurora and see what color they have. So I don't know if we have any aurora readers in here, and it could be different because we are on camera and, lighting. Sorry, ladies driving, but I'm here. Drive safe. You can clearly see how things fit together. So things like when you're on your healing journey, you are given pieces of the puzzle, and then maybe you don't know how they fit together, but then all of a sudden they are piecing together, or you're good at solving those mysteries or those unknown things. That's clairvoyance. That's clear seeing. You have an awesome sense of direction. So I am I am situationally aware for the most part. I grew up in the Washington state, so I have known northeast, west, south, northeast, southwest. Let's get it correct, Roberta Lee. So, um, with that being said, is we have where was I going? I have a really good sense of direction. However, my sense of direction is I am a very, very visual person. So I pay attention to my surroundings. Could I give you street signs? Could I give you street numbers? Nope. I pay attention to my surroundings. So when I'm giving you directions, biggest thing I can give when I was living in Texas, I would tell people how to get my thing after you get off the little freeway thing. You're gonna hit 3 stoplights, then you're gonna go across the bridge. Once you go across the bridge, you're gonna see a gas station to your left, and then you're gonna go just a little bit further. Once you hit that first left right after that gas station, then you're going to make that left, and then you're going to make an immediate right, go all the way to the end of the block, and that was my house. That's how I explained it to people. Now, when I was in the military, I would explain, okay, well, I'm from Washington State. And they're like, oh, you're from Canada. No, I'm not. I'm from Washington State. And they're like, well, where are you from? Well, I used bases. So Spokane, we have Fairchild. So I said, okay, well, do you know where Fairchild Air Force Base is? And they would say, yes. Okay, I'd be like, okay, well, here's Fairchild. Here's the flat part of Washington State. If you go up 3.5 hours northwest of Spokane or Fairchild, that's where I'm from. They're like, so you're Canadian. Do you know how many times I got that? No, I'm not Canadian, but I love my Canadian friends. Still new to reading auroras. I haven't tried much. It hasn't been in my learning avenue yet. So I do plan on reading it, but I'm just not there yet. I would love to do one of the aurora readings where you go and stand in front of the camera and they take your picture and it reads your aurora. And I love to do that. I have seen it and it's intrigued me. So I would love to do that. Has anybody done that or tried to do it? Deeper connection with beautiful things. So it could be a materialistic things. It could just be the sense of being in nature. Like you could go out and you could just sit in nature and you just connect. Maybe the animals are starting to come up to you. You're hearing those sounds. You're seeing what is happening to you. You're seeing the magic that is happening with your own eyes. Again, clear seeing. Frequent and vivid dreams. There are a lot of people who have vivid dreams. Sometimes those scare people, but they're meant to be there for a reason. I can see the colors constantly, just need to look up color meanings. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. Maybe that's where you should put your practice in. No, but my daughter sees auroras since she was little. Ooh, I love it. I'm curious. Is it like the same thing as like when you're going out at night and it's those bright lights? Is it the same thing? Because again, I don't see auroras and I'm not going to claim that I do. Is it the same concept? You are a creative person when you're clairvoyant. So you may be a singer, you may be an artist, a painter. There are so many ways to be creative. It's just mind-blowing. Let's see. Sometimes you see things out of the corner of your eye. I constantly see things out of the corner of my eye. I'm very prominent on my left. I swear there is a figure that walks right outside my house back and forth at certain times of the day. It always catches me. It's not a vehicle or anything. And I can always look out my side window to make sure it's not somebody walking, but I catch that. I also have a white cat. Her name is Olive. Now, here's the funny thing. Before I had this white cat, I had a previous white cat, and she was almost identical. She had her differences, more white than gray. but her name was Sugar. And I swear to you, I see my white cat Olive walking out of the corner of my eye, and I go and look, she's not there, and she's off curled up in the chair. Didn't move an eye. Or she's up in her cat tree or in the bed. And I'm like, okay. It's like a different colored light around you, like a halo around them. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to look up, and when it's that time, and I'll have to look into doing it, because I get the halo effects. I get the aurora things when I'm driving. I can see it really bad when at night. That's when it happens to me. And it doesn't even have to be when I'm driving. But I do get that halo effect. You could be great at envisioning plans in your head. I am a planner. If I don't start planning things now, I am one of those ones that I start getting anxiety. I start getting stressed about it. So even if I'm mentally planning, like I will tell you right now, I am a mental planner, and I am already starting to plan my family reunion, which they haven't talked about yet. Mind you, I brought up saying, hey, is it too early on my birthday to say, hey, is it too early to start talking family reunion? Yeah, fine. So you know what I'm doing is I'm planning for food wise. So that energy, people can save energy. They can spend time doing the things that they love, and just, it's quick, it's easy, and everybody's coming together and you're feeling that magic. Moving pictures in your mind. Maybe you get visions in your head. Your eyes could be closed, they could be open, and you can get those moving. It's like the old school still lifes, and they flash through your mind. Or same thing like with brief mental images. Yeah. And just so you know, everybody has access to clairvoyance. Everybody has access to this one. If you have a third eye, if you can see with your two eyeballs, you have access to this. If you can dream, if you can think of something, if you can set plans and set goals and achieve them, you are clairseeing. You just need to work on developing it. So how can you develop those things? How can you practice clairvoyance? Okay, well, you can go like this, touch your third eye. I guess I could have done this too as a grounding. But you can touch your third eye. So you can rub it. God, this looks so weird. So weird. It looks okay. Yeah. Anyway, so you can rub your third eye, stimulate it. It gets that thing. You can take an object and you can set it down, maybe on a piece of paper or something. So this was the closest thing. It's a purple pen. Sit there and observe it, look at it in every which way that you can, every single detail. Then you can close your eyes and you can practice it, seeing it in your head. And you keep doing that until it's a clear vision in your head, and it comes naturally. And then once it gets natural, go in and observe it. And then instead of seeing it as purple, maybe change it to hot, let's go blue or hot pink. Maybe the pen is forming into a different thing. Let it happen. Maybe it's there. That's clairvoyance. That's something that you can do, taking an object. And it doesn't have to be a pen. It can be a mouse. It can be an oracle deck. It could be your teacup. Anything. It could be candle. It could be even a lit candle. It's that practicing opening your third eye. So massaging our third eye, practicing with an object. When we go to auroras, being patient. So that's something I have to be patient, is I need to learn to see auroras, and I need to do it with myself and be patient before I can see others. As with all things, like when you are seeing things, when you are doing a card pull, it's all about that intention. I think we've said it before, intention. I think on a past episode, maybe. Anyways, so you can play a clairvoyant game. I was actually going to do a game, but I didn't have anything for our grounding meditation or grounding this morning, because I don't have anything to set the things up. But what you can do is you can pick up a deck of cards, a regular deck of 52 playing cards, and separate. Say you can take 6, 8, or 10 cards out, all pairs. So it'd be 5 pairs or 3 pairs, 4 pairs, or 5 pairs. Take it up, flip them up. So it's like playing a game of memory match. So you flip up the one card, and you, instead of going in and flipping up each card, trying to figure out which one, you're going to clearly see what is on those cards. You're going to clearly envision what's underneath each card. And you're going to pick the card that you think represents that 6 or that jack or the ace or whatever it is that you have laying up. Envision it. And then keep going with it. Keep going with that so you can gain that clairseeing. Another way you can do clairseeing is have a friend pick 3 objects or up to 10 and have them line up in a row. And you could do this for each other. Line them up in a row. Take 60 seconds, look at 30 to 60 seconds and look at each object, review them, memorize them, and then go back into your mind's eye and then remember in what order and what shape are these items. That's also clairseeing. That's also an exercise to help you. They are beneficial. You may be even doing it and you don't even realize it. So if you are clairvoyant, right? Yeah, clairvoyant, and you're already doing it and not realizing it, start opening it, because that's your third eye talking to you. Another one is, let's see, practice. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what Zinner cards are. I did not get to this one. So but what I did gather is they're like little cards with images on them. And what it says is that you can telepathically practice with another person, pick up a card, vision it in your head, and send it to them telepathically and see if that person can guess it. That's also an exercise for clairseeing. So get a partner, find somebody that can help you, and do those things to help you with your clairvoyance. So now that you've heard about clairvoyance, do you think that you are already using it? Also, other things that you can do to help with your clairvoyance is use crystals, keep a dream journal, especially if you are one of those ones who do have vivid dreams, because sometimes those are pieces to our puzzles that we may not even realize. Third eye meditation, practice giving readings. So if you are working with oracle or tarot, I practice working with my oracle. I used to give readings, and I do think I might bring that back, is Tarot and Oracle Tuesdays with approved readers. But it's one of those things, giving readings. Those are the things you can do it on yourself. Practice on yourself. And then when you feel comfortable and confident with yourself, move on to somebody else. That's how you gain your clairvoyance, is you keep practicing, because once again, practice makes perfect, right? Are you a good listener? Oh, wait, no. Release the expectations, learn psychic symbols, be one with nature. These are all things to help with your clairvoyance. So now here's a fun one. Clairaudience. If you have any tips or tricks for some clairaudient people, let a woman know, because, sometimes these ringing in the ears are horrendous. And yeah. So clairaudience. What is clairaudience? Clairaudience is, it's clear hearing. And sometimes clear hearing is, it's just that. I tune people out because my clairaudience is very spot on, or I tune people in because I like to secretly listen to conversations. That has nothing to do with me. Why? Because people talk about anything and everything. And I'm a listener, and I'm an observer. Also going to learn fun facts that way. So clairaudience, again, this is a noun. Even though it's describing something, it is a noun. The supposed faculty of perceiving as if by hearing what is inaudible. Okay, so a lot of people would say, I have selective hearing, which I do. I have very selective hearing because I get to the point where my hearing, and I've had my hearing tested when I was getting out of the military, and they were actually quite surprised at how well I could hear because I was hearing those little beeps and this silent headphones that could drive anybody nuts. And I could hear 96% more of those silent, unheard beeps, making my hearing really, really well. And so it sucks. But when I'm talking to people or I'm doing my own thing, or loud noises come, I get really, really, really loud ringing in my ears. And it's not tinnitus because they've checked my ears, or tinnitus, where you're ringing, you have the ringing in your ears. And it's generally my right ear. And it's very high pitched. It's very, if I'm talking to somebody, I have to be very, very cognizant of my facial expressions, because if not, then I'm just like, I'm making weird faces at the person I'm talking to, and I'm not trying to. So how to know if you are clairaudient? And again, you can be clairaudient, you can be clairvoyant, you can be both. I am absolutely both. My clairvoyant I had as a kid, it went away, came back in bits and pieces, and it is now back fully to being open. I am clear seeing in my journey, and I try to stay that way. Anyways, so are you detail oriented? Well, I'm not detail. Well, I guess in a way I am detail oriented because I do like to plan things out. I do like to get things going. So in a way, yes, you can be detail oriented. You could also be a cluster and be scattered all over everywhere and still miraculously get it done and be clairaudient, because I've been there too. So a tendency to talk to yourself. Now, I have gotten myself in trouble because I have been clairaudient as a kid and as an adult. And let me tell you, as a kid, when my grandma lived out in all this acreage and I could just roam on her property, didn't have very many neighbors. So when the neighbors were outside or I was outside, and let me tell you, I had my dresses to the nines. I played dress up. I had no friends. I had nobody to play with. So I very, very, very easily found myself entertaining myself and talking to my imaginary friends. As everybody would tell my grandparents is, hey, Wendy, your granddaughter's talking to herself on your property again, just walking around. I'm pretty sure they were telling my grandparents that you need to go get your granddaughter checked because I think she's got a screw loose. Oh, look where I am. I do have a screw loose. And you know what? I love it. I hope you do too, because why not? We have a preference towards learning by listening. I am a visual. I am not just a listening learner. It depends what I am learning about. Some things I can put it on Audible, and I can listen and I can learn about it. One of the things that I absolutely love learning about via Audible was Clan of the Cave Bears. I listened to the entire series, and I actually have correlated that with some past life regression and pieced together other information of what I've received, and it's pretty cool. So I can learn that way, but I'm also a visual learner and a hands-on learner. So I'm a little bit of an all of above. You dislike of sudden loud noises. So in the beginning, when we were talking about clairaudience, I told you I'm very sensitive to loud noises. I am extremely, extremely sensitive to loud noises. I don't have my TV very loud. If I'm listening to music, or if I'm listening, if that, even the hubby has his phone turned up, I'll be like, hey, can you please turn your phone down? Because either A, I'm not trying to compete with, what I'm watching, or it's too loud. It will cause a ringing in my ears. And it's painful internally. And I don't show it externally. So yes, just loud noises, I'm not a very big fan of. So if you are not a fan of loud noises, I am right there with you. You need for alone time and quiet periods to charge. Clairaudience takes a lot of energy. Maria, I don't know how you experience your clairaudience, but when I am around a lot of people, I absorb the talking, the commotion, every single noise that is going around me, from nature to people to the vehicles on the street. Like, everything is going through my mind. It is very draining. So you always need to make sure that need to you do need to recharge. You need to cleanse. Really overwhelming. Yes, it is. So if you got, like I said, if you got that, if anybody has anything for, especially for ringing ears, I would much appreciate it. And I'm sure others would too, because, you can get frequent ringing and buzzing in your ears. And I will tell you, mine were very, very frequent. Very few times did it go to my left side of my ear. It is primarily my right. So I have learned that it was a download of information. It was my spirit guides trying to tell me information. And sometimes it's more of, maybe there is a spirit within my area too that's also trying to get my attention, but I can't hear that frequency. So because I haven't tuned into it. So what they do is it's like they're screaming in my ear. And so it just becomes a loud ringing. And that happens in public. And I don't, like I said, how do you keep your face from going when it happens? And you're just like, yeah, hi, yeah, no, that's great information. I'd love to know more. When I hear ringing, I ground myself and allow them to send me my messages. Same here. I have learned to ground, and I've learned that since I've started my healing journey, my ringing in my ears is not as prominent unless I am out in public with people. And then there's it may not be the person I'm with, it could be other people around me. And it's just, again, it comes in as like a very high-pitched ringing if they're yelling at me. So I tune them out. No ringing here, but my face definitely says it all. I'm glad that you have no ringing, because sometimes the ringing in the ears, it takes it out of you, because you could be focusing on one thing, you can be talking, and then all of a sudden this high-pitched ringing comes in, and you're just like, you're really, like, I have to put my good ear, which is my left ear, I have to put it forward, and make it so it's not noticeable. So I kind of just slightly shift, and I listen with my good ear. So I'm trying to still be active and listen to those things. My answers just might be a little bit short because I'm not fully comprehending what I'm thinking about, because I'm more focused on the ringing in my ear. So it does happen, but it does help. So I do find that, I just turn my good ear towards the person and the ringing away from the person that is talking. Are you a good listener? Music is important to your journey. So like for me, if you don't know, yes, I do have my headphones in, even though I do ground on a daily basis. I do have YouTube going, and right now I have the trust the process, stop worrying, relax, and allow the universe to deliver. It's just a meditation thing. I go through different meditations, but the meditation just kind of keeps me coherent. It keeps me from losing my train of thought. It keeps me from going off on those wild tangents. It just keeps me here in the present. It's what it does. You could get whispers or talking in the distance. So maybe you hear people talking, but there's nobody around. Those are spirits trying to communicate with you. Music is life. What kind of music do you bring into your life to help you ground and do those things, Maria? Let's see, whispers are talking in the distance, so that could be spirits, your spirit guides coming into you. Yes, Christy, we definitely have experience with that. If they can't, my spirit guides know that I tune them. Tune voices out because I'm very clairaudient, and I haven't gotten to that point where I can physically tune them in yet. So what they do, even though they do give me messages, they will go to my sister and they will say, "Hey, yeah, we need some messages." Oh no, wait, they ain't even messages for us lately. Yeah, we know he's doing the work. So it's just, we get those things. Voices in one own's mind that offer advice. So maybe you're having a full blown conversation in your mind. I do it all the time. I will have full blown conversation, be like, okay. And it comes down to, it did help me home because instead of thinking of the negative, it helped me retrain my brain to think of the positive, and it helped me break those karmic cycles to be able to have those conversations. Instead of being should, I brought in the could haves, and now I am getting things done. I am working where I need to get things done. Rap and hip hop. Do you ever use calming music when you're meditating, or different avenues for grounding? Just the music, not the words, but just the music. It's different. I know I recommended it to Christy, and she's like, she had her expectations because there are different meditations that you can use. So you can use like nature sounds. You can use, like, they do help you fall asleep. So like maybe you need a meditation um for like when you sleep, a protective meditation. I have been doing those. I've been using sleep meditations. If it's not music I'm listening to a sleep story. So I bring in those things to help me in my daily journey, because not every day can I go in and physically meditate and spend an hour in meditation. So I put on those things at night, so that way if it is a long meditation, those messages are being perceived. Sometimes I wake up constantly and I just turn the music off because it's just telling me it's not triggering the right part of my brain. It's being distracting, I guess. So now I did find this. There are some different types of clairaudience, and I want to bring this up. When I'm at a 10 and totally overwhelmed, rap having Metallica. I agree. Hollywood Undead got me through some of my dark times. Hollywood Undead. I was a Metallica fan, and then the ex-husband, too many of my exes just were enthralled with it, and it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So I turned to Hollywood Undead, and Hollywood Undead that took me on some dark ventures. So yeah, I can understand that one. Okay. I want to talk about types of clairaudience, because I found this out, and I found this in my deep dive of research. There are 5 different types of clairaudience. 5 different types. I didn't know that. Did you? So the first one being is external clairaudience. External clairaudience. External clairaudience is where it's the type of people who can hear otherworldly voices or sounds as if someone is talking to them, even though no one is there. So that's coming external. There are several times where I've woken up in the middle of the night, between that witching hour of 3 and 5, and I hear Roberta or something along those lines, or I hear a noise or a word, and it wakes me up. And if you know me, I'm a hard sleeper, so it takes a lot to wake me up. Those things do wake me up. So we have external clairaudience. We have internal clairaudience. That's the one that's coming where we can hear voices and sounds as if they're our own mind producing them, which is so funny because I actually was doing some research and it wasn't necessarily on the clairs, but it was on channeling. And some of our mental health, our diseases that we have are associated with channeling. We just get stuck. So DID is one of them. Schizophrenia is another. They are forms of channeling. They just get stuck. It could be a past life. It could be one of those things. So that is a fun fact for internal clairaudience that I found. Internal all the dang time. Yes, I'm very internal. But yeah, I'm going to have to go into this one, but DID can be, there is, if you go in, if you use your mediumship, you're using your clairs, you can actually tell people that you may have a mental, I put quotes on this because it's not talked about widely, a mental disability when but you're not scoring high enough to meet the actual medical criteria of it. So there are relations. So I really did find that cool. The next one is intuitive clairaudience. This is where you usually receive messages or guidance at critical times in their lives or when they have to make an important decision. That's that gut feeling. That's that. What is it telling you to do? Are you going to listen to it or are you going to go against the grain and make things difficult for you? And we always have decisions to make. That intuitive, maybe it's, about sending your kid to the hospital and sticking up because the doctors aren't doing what they're supposed to. That happens. Follow your intuitive clairaudience because it's there. It's telling you something for a reason, good or bad. So the next one is psychic clairaudience, which is messages received are generally insights or warnings about other people's situations. So have you ever been put into a situation where you meet somebody and you just get that sense that something is not right? I've had this happen. It was while I was in the military, and a friend who we went through basic training, we went through tech training together, was put into a domestic violent situation. And I had legit just got out of one within that year. And I saw what he was doing to her. And I saw how it was affecting her. And she had no voice. She had no control. So one day I grabbed a friend because I knew it was a dangerous situation. This person was not military. The person was not military. So I grabbed a friend who was in the military and said, "Hey, look, I need your help. I need an eyewitness if anything goes down." I went and grabbed the friend of mine who I went through basic and tech school with. And I said, "Listen, grab your shit." I was like, "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to grab your shit and you're going to get out of here and you're going to get to a safe place." Well, he tried to step in and chime in. And I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "If you want to step in, I will be calling the police." He ended up disappearing after that. She got to a safe place and she was able to get out of that domestic violent relationship. And she never looked back. Was I told I was stupid for going there? I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely. But I saw a friend in need and I took a wingman. What more can you do? And I got her to safety. That's all that matters. I would take being called stupid every day just to make sure she was alive, because the path that she was going down, it wouldn't have been good for her. And I didn't want to see that for her. So yes, I followed my intuition. I got her to a safe place. Was in a wreck before we got the call. Ooh, was there loss of life on that one, Maria? And how did that one, that message come across? How, if you care to share, how did that message come across? What did you feel? What was it? Electronic, let's see, the next one is electronic clairaudience. So people can pick up electronic sounds such as radio signals. And if you're like my sister and I, ours comes through the phone conversations on a consistent, we can never have a normal conversation, heard and saw it. Thankfully, no, that I'm glad no one was, there was no loss of life, but heard it and saw it. That's scary, because you're hearing, I'm sure you heard the glass shatter, the screams, the crunch of the metal. It's like you're almost there in a way. What's our timeout? Okay, so exercises to strengthen your clairaudience. You can stop, close your eyes, and just listen to the sounds around you. Now, I was reminded of this on this weekend, because I decided, because it was super nice, I went out and I was working in my yard, and my earbud and my music just kept randomly pausing and not wanting to work. So I ended up taking it out, and I just listened to the sounds. And you know what happened? I was digging, and then all of a sudden I kind of was just, because I'm getting ready for my sunflower patch, and all of a sudden I hear bzz, 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 and a little bumblebee was coming out of the weeds, and it was just graciously saying hello and letting me know it was there. So I didn't hurt it. And I was very thankful that I was in tune with my surroundings, because I may have hurt that little bumblebee, and I'm not one to hurt a bumblebee, because they help my flowers and they help my fruits and my veggies and everybody else's. And just, why not? And I was trying to make sense of it all. How old were you when that happened, Maria? So you can use music, especially with lots of instruments. Metallica is great, because they do have a very good instrumental line when they're playing their songs. But try, Maria, for you, try finding instrumentals that have that beat that you're looking for, to help your clairaudience. So 12, and and giving that age, the day and era and stuff, we were not really allowed to talk about it. It was considered evil, and it was like, no, you don't know those things. You don't know anything. And you were kind of pushed under the rug. You push those things under the rug. It's absolutely terrifying. I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't think I have anything clairaudient wise that is terrifying like that. I get smells a lot, and that does come from a past life regression. Sometimes I get the smell of burning fire and other things. So have you been able to work through that now that you're older, Maria? Bet you made a believer out of your grandma, or she started to believe. Imagine sounds is another one. You can imagine sounds, tuning into the nature. Meditation are always good ones. Asking the spirit for clear, audible messages. I know I'm not crazy. You absolutely are not crazy. And you can probably help a lot of people too. You can have friends send you that word. You could do the telepathic thing. You can practice with flashcards in spirit. You can ask for a song as an answer, or you can, as a song. So if you ask a question and you want it in song format, just remember that is your key. So pay attention to what the words are saying, or the tune of the music too, is just wasn't talked about. See, and that's the thing. I think most of the older generation, they don't have these they have these abilities, but because it was so instilled with them because of fear, and they were taught that these were bad things instead of good things, they were pushed away, and we've lost all of that, not the ancestral knowledge, the powerful things that come with it, and we've all had to reteach ourselves and heal. Because I'm going to tell you, my grandma is absolutely 100% in the spiritual realm. And I would say, and even if she never admitted it, she is 100% a garden witch. That woman can have a garden. I have never seen a garden so immaculate as hers. Like, it's a dream to have a garden as beautiful as hers. And my sister can even vouch for it. She is in every place she has gone, her garden is just top tier. Like, that's the thing that makes her house. So, okay. So we are going to go over the hour mark. I'm trying not to, but at least with Clairsentience, it's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit shorter, so I should be able to get through this quick, and then we should be able to go through our poll. So we'll go over the hour marker just a little bit, but not by much. So Clairsentience, again, a noun. How are these things nouns when they're describing things? Perception of what is not normally perceptible. And Clairsentience, if we look, is clear feeling, that feeling of knowing something is wrong. Like, you get that gut feeling and you're like, maybe we should go. Or, I hate to say this, I don't judge a book by a cover, but when somebody comes into my life and they have that negative energy, I can pick up on it, and I'm going to be like, there's something not good about you, and I'm not quite feeling it, and I'll put my feelers out. I won't judge until I know for sure that my intuition is correct. So signs of clairsentience: receiving knowledge from places and objects. So maybe you are at a thrift store and you find this nice, lovely teacup that, great grandma Waldine decided to, they got rid of because it was in her estate sale and they no longer needed it. Okay, well, great grandma Waldine is now attached to this cup. So don't ask where Waldine came from. I don't know. But Waldine is attached to this cup, and you can pick this cup up and you can feel it. Not like that. Sorry for the dramatics, but why not have them? Anyway, so you can feel the emotions. You can feel the energy that's attached to it. That's clear feeling. That's knowing that an energy is still stuck to an object. How do you clear it? You can pick up on people's feelings. So if you're an empath, this kind of ties in. They are different. I did not write down the differences of empath and clairsentience, but there is a whole lot out there. They want to make sure that you do know that they are different, but I do believe that they are the same thing. They are similar. Telepathy and psychic gifts. So that Clair, you're going to find that a lot of these clairs are absolutely going to tie into one another, and that you may be using them, just not in the way that you thought you were using them. You may just thought you were using the gift for clairaudience, but you have clairsentience too. So, sensing health and physical ailments in other people. So you can absolutely feel when somebody's wrong. I will give my hubby an example. His stomach had been bothering him. So I picked up on that, and I could feel that what we needed to do. I changed our eating habits. I did all those without, talking to him. But since then, he's now starting to work on his gut health. He is now finding those things that he can pinpoint in his own body. So he's clear feeling, and he's getting to know his own body. So you can have clear feeling, and you can have clairsentience, and you can have it for your own body, not just for others. Your soulmate, even twin flame bonds. So you can know, when it's a soulmate, when it's a twin flame. You have that feeling. You've been not even that, past life regressions, your soul people. not the soul people, like, if they're meant to be in your life, like, they just leave that little imprint, and you're just like, "I know you." Like, I feel like I've known you my whole life, like, chances are you've probably known them in multiple lifetimes, and that's where it's clear feeling. Um, you have access to wisdom even through dreams. So this could be your ancient wisdom, ancestral wisdom. This could be your past life regression when you go and unlock the Akashic records. Like, it is out there. You gotta feel it. Feel for it. Na, 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 na. You're sensitive to changes in frequency. So what that means is, like, you could walk in a room, maybe you are glowing, you are having, a grand time, and you walk into a room and it just, nope. Something just brought that glowing feeling down, and you can feel the negative energy. You can feel the tension, the heatedness, like the uncomfortableness. Like, you can feel that energy. That's clear feeling. Um, you have strong intuition. You're highly empathic, highly empathic. So again, if they're not the same, but you can still um feel people's emotions or feelings. You're easily overwhelmed by crowds. Um, I am one of those ones. I am very, very clairsentient. And I didn't realize that until after I began this journey. Even in the military, I have never been one for big crowds. I get really nervous. I shut down because here's what happens. I am a very observant person. I can deal with the people that I'm comfortable with, but I'm going to use the little town of Leavenworth, Washington as an example. It's a little German town here in Washington state that is it is a tourist town. And when you get to a certain point in the day, if you go early enough in the day, it's perfect. There's not too many people, but once you get to a certain point in the day, especially if you go there during the Christmas festivities, it becomes shoulder to shoulder people. And at that point, I get anxiety, I get overwhelmed, I get overstimulated because not only am I feeling everybody and their mama's emotions, like, I'm an empath, so it's going to attach to me. I'm not feeling there. I'm feeling the good. I'm feeling the bad. It's all of that. So when you're feeling those emotions and you're overwhelmed by crowds, it's because you're feeling. You cannot observe. Maybe you no longer feel safe because you can't be observant, and that's the way I am. If I cannot observe every single person in my peripherals, I don't care if you're standing behind me. If I cannot observe you and witness what you're going to do, what can happen, then my outcomes are a lot higher. Then I don't know what your probability is, because there's always going to be that one person in a crowd that could make or break anything. And that's just the honest truth. So I don't do big crowds. I try to avoid them as best as I can. And if I know I'm going to be in a big crowd, I now prepare my energy. If it's with family, I prepare in a different way than I do to going out in daily life crowds. So yeah, it can be overwhelming. So it sounds like you're a little clairsentience, Maria. Let's see. Again, you can feel the changes in your environment. For this one. So if you're feeling those changes, that means that's negative energy. That means it's follow that gut feeling. Like, if something is telling you that something is not right here. I don't know how many times when I was with my ex-husband, he was into his cars. He was married to his cars. And we'd be out in the racing scene, street racing. And I just get this feeling, and I'd just be like, we need to go home. We really need to go home. And he'd get upset, but I mean, it was either listen to me or keep doing or leave me stranded. And thankfully he never did. I will give him that. But it was just one of those things. I don't think anything ever happened, but I think if we were to stay, things could have happened because we were military and they were doing street racing, which obviously is not legal. So, I followed my intuition on those things. That's just the past. I get the Clair feelings all the time and I follow it. I'm going for some things. So how can you develop your clairsentience? Spend time alone in the solace and nature. Nature is key for a lot. Practice self-compassion. So even if you are not an empathic person, you can still teach yourself to be clairsentient. You can learn to feel. You can learn to understand other people's what they're going through. You can learn to feel them. You can, so that way you don't have to make judgments. If they're having a batshit day, you're going to be like, okay, what am I going to do to make this person smile today? Okay, maybe it's just they need an ear to talk to, and I'm that person to listen. Feel the energy of the room. Feel the energy of that person, who whatever you're going. Do the shadow work. That lovely thing that everybody's so scared of. The thing that, it does bring lightness. I promise you, it really does. It brings lightness. Practice mindful detachment. Are you detaching from something and you need to learn to feel things out? Okay, guess what? I've learned to mindfully detach and properly reattach myself into those lives and get it. It is not easy. It is not fun. But a part of that detaching series, it also brings in letting go of the things that you don't need. So when you can detach yourself and learn your triggers, learn your emotions, you can start feeling those things. That feeling will come back. It's just that trust yourself. That's the biggest key. Trust yourself. You're going to take so many steps into the unknown. But how do you know you're going to stay stable? How do you know you're going to do all these things that you need to do to keep yourself going? Trust yourself. Absolutely trust yourself. Okay. Yeah. Just a little bit more. Chat with your spirit guides. I used to be the type of person who would be like, oh, I don't need to chat with my spirit guides. They'll give me message. No, chat with them. They have messages. That's how you know you're on the right path. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do. We've got to be consistent with ourselves. Quiet your mind. Easier said than done, but when you can learn to quiet your mind, and that's playing that maybe it silence is not what you need. Play that music that can match that energy that you're looking, whether it's just high vibe, it's instrumental, it's whatever it is to meet your needs. And I will tell you, when I'm going through my meditations, I literally scroll on my things because my YouTube has times for me and kind of relies on my meditation. I meditate. I have meditation music going when I'm doing my daily pull. If I'm in a bad mood, I won't put music on that has lyrics. I will put music on that has that's instrumental, and that's high vibe. It's flowing. It makes me want to move. It gets me out of that negative thing because I'm learning to feel myself. I'm learning to feel my body and learning to let go of those negative stressors. Tune into your pet, talking to your pet, playing with your pet, sniffing the back of their head. That's clear feeling. Like when you connect to your pet, that it's a different kind of feeling. It's warm, it's comforting. There is so much more. I can't describe it. It's grounding for sure. You can eat high vibe foods, journal it out, read an old photo. So read an old photo. What does that mean? It means take an old photo. Maybe it's somebody in the family. Try to read the photo, read the emotions. Can you feel what they're feeling? Try it. That's what it means. So maybe you see an old-time photo and they look sad, they look depleted, they look tired and hungry. What do you feel from that old feeling? That's practicing giving you that clairsentience. Feel a color. Do psychometry. Sense the location of objects. So you've done the location with the clairaudience. Can you do it with the clairsentience? Listen to your gut. That's a big one. Your gut is going to be the one that tells you go for it or stop. It's going to tell you when to move and when not to move. But if you're kind of in that like in between, trust yourself. Clear your third eye. So we talked about like, if you can even tap your third eye to activate it. You can meditate, you can clear out the things that no longer serve you. So when you're detaching from things, you're clearing out those energies that no longer serve you. So if you have things that you are attached to, that's clear feeling. Why are you attached to these things? Learn to figure out why you're attached. Then you can be able to let go. Embrace your emotions. So when you're doing your shadow work and you're learning your emotions, you're learning your triggers, and you're learning who you are, that's you embracing yourself. You're healing your trauma in the process. So when you're doing shadow work, you're obviously healing. And if you have any codependency issues, work on that, because that's a sense of feeling. Why do you have codependency issues? It could be from trauma in the past. It could be because neglect. It's hard to say. Practice gratitude. I am thankful. Those are some very, very powerful words. I am thankful to be able to drink my cup of tea. I am thankful to be able to sit here and have tea time with you guys and interact, because not only am I learning and growing, you're learning and growing in as well. I feel that I'm doing good with these messages. I feel that I'm getting messages out to help other people. That's what I feel. I feel good about it. Learn to communicate. Communication is the biggest thing in any relationship. It can be a deal breaker. If you can learn to communicate, if you can learn to have those open communications, and you can learn to talk things out, because guess what? When you can communicate, you can learn to access your higher self. Then you're not lashing out irrationally. You're able to feel the other person's side of the story as well as yours and come to an understanding. You may change sides at the end because maybe their point of view is there. So learn to communicate, because communication is where it needs to be, and where it will make or break you. Communication comes in relationships, physical, romantic, your friendships, your family, your coworkers. Relationships are always there. Communication is always needed. Work on your communication shield. It's your throat chakra. Let it go. Clear feeling. Enhance your sacral and heart chakra. So even though it's saying clear communication, your heart and your sacral chakra, you're grounding yourself. You're grounding, and then your heart, that's bringing the love. That's bringing the compassion, the understanding, the knowing forward. So that way you're not passing judgments onto others. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's whatever the case may be. Or be like, ew, you're wearing sweatpants. I don't want nothing to do with you. Well, sorry, sometimes we need sweatpants. And that's just getting it out there. So that's our first 3 clairs. So we have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, and clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. Now, since we've talked about these 3, have you discovered that you may have more than one clair than what you originally thought? How do you feel about this? And today, as I'm getting ready, we're going to do Work Your Light from Rebecca Campbell, because this seems like an appropriate deck. I want to let everybody know as I shuffle. Okay, hold on. What messages do people need to receive this week? All right. I want you to know, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everyone who does join in weekly or who is new joining in. We are, I enjoy this. If you're watching the rewatch, let me know in the comments. But thank you. This is healing. It is grounding. It does bring stability to my life and helps me help others. All right. What messages do others need to? I like all real life correlations much better than just reading a book. I agree, Maria, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this, because 3 more shuffles, because it is relatable. You can interact with me and others real time. It's not just about okay, so we're going to be stubborn today. We're just going to do a 1-card pull. And that is, awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being integration. So it's great for our clairsenses. So you may be awakening some clairsenses, your gifts. You are coming in and you're kind of in that limbo stage where you're in the unknown. You've taken the leap of faith. You're waiting. You're in that process of awakening everything. You're being rebirthed into something new. Just be patient with yourself. It's a new way and new things are coming, and they're all great things. So I do appreciate every one of you. This was a great part 1 of our clairsenses. I am glad that I did break it up and do 11:11 is my favorite time. It is 1:11, or is it 11:11? It is 11:11. Let's see what our card number was. I didn't even look to see what the card number was. Oh, there is no card number. So next week we'll be going over part 2, and we'll be going over the clairsenses of claircognizance, which is clear knowing, clairaudience, which is clear smelling, clairgustance, which is clear tasting. So tune in next week for part 2. I love you all, and thank you for tuning in for this week's Tea Time with Lady M. And